Thank you very much, Mr. Timitayo, and good morning, Madam Chairman. Good morning, the Vice Chairman, the ESCO members of Lagelu and District Society, members of Lagelu and District Societies, our guests and participants in this technical session. I say good morning to you all. Thank you for joining, and thank you for making the time, even on a Saturday, to attend this session. Please confirm if I'm very audible.
Yes, sir.
I'll be sharing.
Yes, sir.
Thank you very much. I will be sharing my screen very briefly. Just give me a few seconds. Okay. Kindly confirm if my screen is up now.
Yes, it is. It is.
Yeah,
Okay.
it is. We can see you.
Thank you very much. And good morning once again. So that we do not, take so much time. A lot has been said during the introduction, and I was also listening, and I'm like, is that me? I couldn't recognize who they were describing in that voice note, actually. But thanks to the organizers, I find it a privilege, and I count it as a great honor to be invited to come and speak to, our great participants. I believe, and from what I've heard, a lot of successful people are on this technical session, on this call today. People who have, achieved a lot, but they are still dedicating themselves to learning. And so one thing I would say is that this young boy that is speaking to you today is not speaking from the position of, knowing it all. I'm just here to share, some insights with you, and also get your own insights. We just look at, what is going on around the economy, and point ourselves, because it's going to go both ways. So we'll be pointing ourselves to how we can actually improve in everything that we are doing. So based on the background that the chairman of the technical committee and our moderator has actually given, the broad topic is, scaling up your business. And, as a form of context, to scale up your business, there are things that are involved. There are steps to take. There are strategies to adopt. There are things to watch out for. There are dangers to run away from. You need systems. You need both technology systems. You need accounting systems. You need people. You need process. You need a lot of things. So scaling is not by mouth. So my job, as the first speaker, is to provide a broad, a broad view of what that concept means. So what we'll be doing in, the next couple of minutes is to, expand that topic. What does scaling means? I believe everybody on this call understand what business means. So we won't go into all of that, but we'll try to, understand what scaling means. What does it mean to scale a business? Now, why do you have to scale a business as a business owner? If you have, a startup, why do you need to scale? We'll also discuss, if you have understood why you need to scale, then when is the right time to scale? How do you scale? So that is speaking to the strategies. And then what are the outcomes? What will you start seeing when you are scaling right? When you are not scaling right, what will you see? When you start scaling, what are the things that you should avoid? And as we would, go on, we will see some, case studies, on people that have scaled successfully and companies that have actually scaled, and failed. So it goes both ways. The contents, like I said, we'll discuss the concept of scaling. We'll discuss the strategies for scaling. We'll talk about the common pitfalls, the dangers, the threats to scaling. We'll look at a few case studies where we'll have the opportunity to interact and then, also ask questions, not the main Q&A, but of course, maybe a few questions, interactive session basically, and then we would conclude. So as we proceed, now, what is scaling? Like I said, we all understand a business. So a business is created to sell a product or provide a service and generate flow of revenue or income. Okay. And that is, basic definition of what a business is. So a business, whatever we call a business, is not a charity organization. A business is not where you don't have a product. If you don't have a product, then you do not have a business. So for a business, there has to be products and there has to be services. Now, scaling a business. So let's hold business on one side and then let's look at the word scaling. What does scaling mean? Scaling, from the general definition on the slide, having growth without increase in resources. If you put it in accounting terms, not all of us here, I believe, or as I'm told, are actually chartered accountants or accountant by background. So there are other business people here. So we would, how we try to tone down on the use of, complex accounting terms, and focus more on just using a general language that we would all understand. So growth is, scaling is you increase growth and then you don't, increase driving that growth. If you take it to the accounting side, you can say scaling is when you increase revenue or income without necessarily increasing the cost. So you'll see it here, growth that increases revenue faster than costs. So if your revenue today is 10,000 as a business owner and your cost is 5,000, and then you try to scale your business to increase your revenue to 20,000 and your costs is increasing by just 5,000 or 4,000, that is scaling. If you increase your revenue to 20,000 from 10,000 and your cost increases from 5,000 to 15,000, such that your profit at the end of the day is still 5,000 that you were earning when your revenue was 10,000. You move to 20,000, your revenue now 20,000, but your profit is still 5,000. Then that is not scaling. That is not scaling. Scaling means that you will increase your revenue faster than you can increase your cost. Now, the next thing I will try to do in terms of understanding the concept of scaling is that there is a very thin line in its technical, description. There's a thin line between growing and scaling. So essentially, growing a business is different, even though you might say is very, very similar, but it's actually different from scaling a business. Let me go back to the example I gave. You have 10,000 revenue, cost 5,000. You increase your revenue to 20,000, and then you increase your cost to 15,000. Now, in the first situation, When you were earning revenue or income of 10,000, your cost being 5,000, your profit will be 5,000. When your business revenue became 20,000 and your cost became 15,000, your profit will still be 5,000. So between when you were earning 10,000 to when you were earning 20,000, your profit remained the same. However, your revenue has grown by 100% from 10,000 to 20,000. So if that happens, what you have done is that you have grown your business. There is a business growth. Nobody can take it away from that business that their revenue has grown from 10,000 to 20,000. So that's growth. But when we talk about scaling, it must permeate every aspect up to the profit. So in a situation whereby you only grow your costs, or your cost increases by maybe from 5,000 to 9,000, whereas your revenue has increased from 10,000 to 20,000, which means your gross profit has increased from 5,000 to 11,000. That is scaling. So just for that understanding, that when we are talking about scaling a business, is an upgrade to growing a business. So there is growth, yes, but scaling a business is much more than growing a business. Let's move on. Just looking at this, picture or pictorial description of what scaling a business is. If you look at the graph, the first one by the left, that is colored, orange-like, you would see that revenue was growing and cost was also growing. If you look at the pattern of growth, you would see that the trajectory of revenue and cost is the same. They are both growing at a relatively the same, I would say maybe percentage. Even though the investment on the bottom is reducing, but yet there are still additional investments that's probably driving the revenue and is also driving the costs. If you look at the blue side, which is the right side, talking about scaling, apart from the initial investment, you would see that there are no further investments. Yes, revenue is growing. Cost is also growing, but at a flatter trajectory compared to the left-hand side. What does that mean? For the left-hand side, that is a business growing. The revenue is increasing. The cost is increasing. The investment is reducing. But because the cost is increasing at a rate similar to the revenue, that's just growing. Like I said, scaling on the right-hand side, you would see that revenue is increasing more than the cost. That is what scaling means. Now, if you now look at all of this together, we then come to this definition. It says scaling a business means achieving significant revenue or operational growth while minimizing the corresponding increase in costs. So you increase your revenue, but you don't allow your cost to increase by the same rate or at the same rate by which your revenue is increasing. In fact, in some extreme level of scaling, you increase your revenue without even increasing your cost. Your cost remains the same, but you employ different strategies to increase your revenue, and we'll get there, where we share example of businesses that have transitioned, applied scaling strategy, increase their revenue. As a matter of fact, their cost even reduced. So that's scaling. Now, why scale your business? Why do we need to scale our business? For people that, have their own audit firm, consultancy firm, their own startup businesses, side also, or you are the chairman, CEO, or chairman of the board of directors of your wife's company. And there's always this informal conversation around, oh, I need to increase my business, I need to invest more. And then the question is, why? Anybody that will be successful, either in career or in business, you must constantly ask that question, why? Anybody that is in the business of asking why, the chances that you get it wrong is very, very minimal. Can you help me do this? Why do I need to do it? If you can answer that why question convincingly, then you are already on the path to achieving that desired outcome. So why scale your business? Why do you need to scale a business? Now, what is here that I put here is, it's a case of scale or die. And it's not even a joke. It's not a buzzword. It's not a catchy phrase. It's just the reality. The environment, the business environment, the career environment that we are operating in today, it's either you scale or you die. There is no in between. There is no in between again. If your business cannot scale, your business will die. You can't float around the middle. In fact, if you are struggling around the middle, it's just for a very short period of time. You will find your level, and your level would be either you do something that is drastic and strategic and you move up, or you allow the turbulence to consume you and you go down. So why do we need to scale? You have to increase profitability. Already, that's foundational description that I gave, between 10,000 and 20,000 increase in revenue. If you are scaling, you increase your profit from 5,000 to an 11,000. Now, if you have increased your profits, part of what comes with increase in profit is, number one, if you have shareholders, you can declare dividend. So whatever dividend you declared when you were earning 5,000, you can declare double of that now that you have earned 11,000 naira. So higher dividend. Now, many of us as business owners, as private investors, as chartered accountants, we do reports for companies, and then we advise them on dividend policy. Sometimes they will, directors will tell us that this is, our dividend policy and all of that. And there are regulations and policies also guiding, declaration of dividend. Of course, I know many of us, might have seen CBN's, the new policy from CBN around declaring dividend for, banks that are yet to clean up their, books coming from the COVID-19, extension that they were giving. But, the point I'm making here is that as an investor, you always want to invest where you get higher dividend. So a company that is scaling, that will make more profits, will be able to declare higher dividend, will then be able to attract more investors, that will increase its capital to scale further, to increase profit again, declare more dividend, and still attract more investors. So it goes that way, upward, by taking a decision to scale. The companies that decide not to scale will continue to lose its investors, current investors. They will lose, because those investors will start moving to the company that is declaring more dividend. The more they lose investors, that reduces their capacity to even meet their costs and do business in an efficient manner. We further increase their cost to income ratio, reduce their profit. They continue to declare lower dividend, and they continue to lose investors until they die. That's exactly the description of scale or die. You can't just sit down and say, I'm just okay where I am as a business owner, as a startup, CEO. You have to take a stand. Now, the second reason why you should scale your business is that every business wants to be known. I've never seen somebody that starts a business as a business owner and say, I'm doing this business because, I just want to keep it in my room. I don't want to be known. I don't want people to, always talk about me. I've never heard. Everybody wants to start a business, and then you want people to know about your product. You want people to know about your services. And, for people that have companies, consultancy firm, anytime, people tell you that, oh, I got your contact from, there's, this inner joy that, everybody feels. I've been in the consultancy, side of things, before. And, as certain accountants, by the ethics of our job, we are not allowed to do all of this, media blitz, media adverts, like people selling gala and, soft drinks. However, how do we get our own business? Because having a consultancy firm or having, an audit firm is still a business, and you need to scale. If you are to bring this home, right? And I'll use few examples. We have audit firms in Nigeria, some out of Ibadan, some out of Osun State, that they started as a small audit firm. Okay, few partners, and gradually they scaled, and today they are in conversation when they are talking about top 10 audit firm in Nigeria. They are there. So by the time you take the big four or the big five, as some we like to say, okay, there are audit firms that were in Ibadan, just in Ibadan, some 25, 30 years ago. And today, they are in the conversation of top 6, top 7 audit firms in Nigeria. So I'm also just saying this, that even as, a chartered accountant, as the, managing partner, resident partner, whatever nomenclature we give that partnership, you are still running a business. So business is not just people that are selling Pepsi or doing wares and all of those things. You are running a business that you need to scale. So to let you know that you want to be known. Now, without mentioning name, as an audit partner, if somebody calls you today to say, oh, my name is XYZ, I got your contact from Mr. Temitayo, we're trying to do something around our tax return, and I would like you to help us. You didn't market the person. It means that you have done something that has given you that market presence. So this is part of the reason why you need to scale. Within the ethics of the profession, within the ethics of your industry, you must ensure that you have market presence. That is one of the reasons why you need to scale. Because if people don't know you, people will go for what they know. Have you seen a situation whereby somebody will buy an AC, air conditioner, and then, maybe he buys, let me just call a name, maybe he just buys, let me just say Royal, for example. I mean, just as an example, I'm not bad-mouthing Royal as a product, in case you have people that are, working with Royal here. But let's say you buy a Royal, air conditioner, and then you find out that it wasn't as cold as, or as cool as we expected. And then somebody tells you, so you've not heard of TTAC. And you're like, which one is that again? That AC is very good. That's the one that I'm using. The person starts telling you about it and all of that. And you'll be like, I've not heard about it before. Now, the issue is that you got the AC based on the information that you have, based on the market presence of Royal, of Panasonic, of ICAN, and all of that. So you don't know a TT that has not scaled without market presence. And if that continues, right? TT will eventually die as a company. People will keep buying, Royal and thinking that is the best, AC out there. Meanwhile, there's a better product that doesn't have market presence. So that's another reason why you must scale your business. You have to reach more customers, whether it's by word of mouth, whether it's by sending broadcasts, whether you turn your status to like in Nollywood, where I don't know whether we've seen people's status before. Some people can have like 50 something, different slides on their status. I mean, advertising their product and doing videos and all of that. You just have to do it. Now, moving on. Why you need to scale? You need efficiency. Now, let me use Nigeria. What is going on in Nigeria as an example? The reality that we have in this country is that the purchasing power is reducing. We are hoping that this will just be a momentary sacrifice for the short term for the greater good. I mean, I'm logged in. That's fine. But the reality today is that purchasing power has reduced. And the truth is that whatever you can buy 10 years ago, you might not be able to afford. I mean, many people might not be able to afford that quantity again today, even though you are earning, much more. Businesses cannot, in Nigerian kind of economy, try to pass all of their costs to the final consumer. You will suffer that will shock you. Now, let me give you a practical example of this. I think about 3 or 4 days ago, I was reading about, multi-choice decision to carve out a special, package for DSTV. Football watchers, football lovers on DSTV, create a special package for DSTV. Why? In the last 1 year, people that, are, I would say, good customers of DSTV, that can't do without Champions League football and all of that. You've seen how much increase that multi-choice has done on DSTV, subscription, monthly subscription. They keep increasing, and I think in the last 1 year, it has increased by over 100%. People moved away, started looking for alternatives. If it's Mnet you like, there's now Netflix. Netflix took that market. Amazon Prime took that market for the Mnet guys. If it's Yoruba film or Igbo, non-Igbo film that you like to watch, YouTube is an option. If it's football that you want to watch, there is VIP Pro, there is Movie Box, there are like hundreds of options. So people moved on because DSTV or multi-choice, they tried to pass all of their costs on the customer. They were not efficient about it. Let's go back to MTN. It's also a South African company. For 10 years, MTN is just increasing, some of the cost of their service, like the critical service, like SMS, like call and all of those things. Are we saying cost has not increased in the last 10 years? MTN has been increasing their staff salary for the past 10 years. But yet, we've been paying this same 4 naira. Okay, now they have increased it to 6 naira after, after so long. Now, the point I'm making is that MTN were probably efficient, and if you look at their books as a shareholder, or there are some information you can get online about MTN, you would see that they are efficient. But it got to a point where they also needed to, they needed to change their pricing. But the point is, as a business, you need to reduce your costs. You need to be efficient because you cannot just be passing that inefficiency on the customer. If you do that, the customer will move away and then you will die. So that's another reason why you need to scale. Then for competitive advantage, of course, it goes without saying. I gave you an example of a company that is increasing its profit and declaring more dividend. He has competitive advantage over the next company that's not declaring dividend. If your price is cheaper, you have competitive advantage over, the competitor whose price is higher. And so to scale your business, you have to ensure that you deliver a better pricing. Please, let's be careful here. I didn't say deliver the lowest pricing. You deliver a better pricing and be sure that the pricing is affordable. Deliver a quality that is good enough, and then the customer is fine with it. Sometimes business owners make the mistake of trying to, I want to deliver a premium product, a product that has all of these several features and all of that, and then you will cost that product based on the services that you have put there. Meanwhile, your customer needs just 2 out of those 5 services, but you want him to pay for all of the 5 services, and then the customer feels that you are too expensive. Meanwhile, there's a competitor that has provided maybe like a bouquet, just these 2 services, pay for it. If you need the other 3, you can add it, which is a classic situation of this DSTV that we are talking about. Yes, they've tried to, do DSTV, DSTV Yanga, this one, and all of those things, Compact Plus. But then, even within the Compact Plus, so I used to do Compact Plus, but the only thing I need in that Compact Plus is the football. How many stations? And then you tell me you're giving me 80-something stations, a signal that I don't need. Why can't you let me pay for that, 10 stations that I need to watch and reduce my, cost by 50% or thereabouts? So that's what we are saying about deliver an affordable price and also deliver good quality. Now, strategies for scaling. When to scale your business. Okay? Now, let me just take few, maybe like a minute here for people to drop, comment in the chat box. Is it better to go with fast and furious when you are scaling, or slow and steady? Fast and furious is quickly scale before somebody steals your idea. Slow and steady is calm down, watch the market, take your time before you scale and all of that. So if
Ayodeji,
yeah,
let's create a poll for that.
I didn't get that.
Let's create a poll for that to answer that question.
Okay, do you want to do that?
Yes, I'll do that now.
All right, thank you. So somebody just dropped a comment. What does it mean to scale? Okay, I will just quickly answer that while we're waiting for the poll. So what it means to scale is to increase the returns, or increase the revenue, or increase the income of your business without increasing your costs in this, like at the same level as that revenue. So when you increase your revenue, but the rate at which your cost increases is lower than the way that revenue increases, that's scaling. The big part of it is when you increase your revenue without increasing your cost at all. You just increase your revenue, but your cost did not increase at all. That's also scaling. What scaling is not is when you increase your revenue and you're also increasing your cost the same way. You are only growing, you are not scaling. So that is, the answer. So we'll come back to the poll. When to scale your business. Now, to provide context to this, okay, scaling business, it's about timing. And we always say it, time waits for no man. I mean, there are a lot of quotable quotes and motivational quotes about timing. A stitch in time saves 9. Time waits for no man. A time lost can never be gotten back. And a lot. I mean, it boils down to the fact that you have to scale your business. I mean, we have answered the question on do we need to scale our business? And I think we would all agree that the answer is yes. You need to scale your business, because if you do not scale your business, that business will die. Now, the next question, when do I scale my business? And I will take a pause here to let us know that if you scale your business too early, that business will fail. If you scale your business too late, that business will fail. That means you have to scale at the right time. And another thing I would emphasize is the right time to scale for a fintech is different from the right time to scale for a bank. The right time to scale for a business in selling pharmaceutical products is different from the right time to scale for a business that is into AI business. Every industry, every business will find its right time to scale. In fact, to even make it, more understandable, the country where you are will influence your timing for scale. The way the economy is, the economy is booming and you don't take advantage of it, and it's when the economy has dried up, when people don't have money again that you want to scale, you might be too late. Now, let's look at what we have on screen. For lovers of football, you will see that picture depicting an offside rule. If you watch football very well, especially with the introduction of VAR, the offside rule is that if you move ahead of the last man, okay, you will be caught offside, which means even if you score, it will be disallowed. That is, you have just wasted your energy over nothing. If you move too slow and you don't time it properly, by the time the ball is played, you have given that opponent in the business world, that will be a competitor, to block your path to go towards the goal. So when you move too fast, you have a chance to quickly get to the goal. But if you are too fast, that goal can be disallowed. And in the business world, it could be that you have moved too fast and then regulator will slam you because you didn't follow the process. If you move too slow and you don't quickly move, in the business world, it's a case of you have given an opportunity to go and launch, a competitor an opportunity to go and launch that product ahead of you because you are too slow, which means timing is everything in this scaling. Okay, Mr. Tempera, please confirm, is that poll going on?
Yes, it is live, but there are no responses so far.
Okay, but we'll move on so that we don't delay. I mean, what I wanted to get is people's idea of, is it better to quickly do it or wait and get it right? But then there is this very old adage. They say the patient dog eat the fattest bone. And in recent times, the Gen Z and Gen Beta have told us that the patient dog will not even find any bone to eat. Okay? Because there are times when you don't need to be patient. You need to proceed. And there are also times when you need to restrain yourself. And that is what the typical offside football rule is explaining. You just have to time your run. Now, as a business owner, how do you know that it is time to scale? Let me say this. Any business that will even have a chance at all of scaling and scaling successfully must have strong leadership. You must have the right staff. You must have experienced staff. You must have staff that are open to innovation and staff that are flexible, staff that are teachable, team that are hungry. If you don't have that, forget the every other thing that we put inside this bucket. That scaling will fail and that business will die. But if you have that strong leadership, that solid team at the core, at the foundation of the business. Now, these are the pointers for a business owner to know that it's time to scale. Whether you are selling products or you are delivering service. So whether you are a cement wholesaler or you are a consultancy firm, CEO. How you will know it's time to scale is, number one, there is strong market demand for your product. So if you are selling something, people keep ordering. People are interested in that product. People are calling you. People are chatting you. Can I buy? You are running out of stock. The rate at which you are, producing or churning out your product is not as fast as the rate at which the demand is coming in. That is a pointer that it is time for you to scale. Number two, you have achieved a level when the amount you are spending, the cash you are spending is now lower than the cash that is coming in. Let me take a step back. Every business that starts, at the start of that business, very few businesses, if they exist, will happen in a way that when your business starts, the money you are making will be higher than the money that you are spending. Very possible that there are such businesses, but I know they will be very, very few, less than 0.001%. At the start of every business, you will most likely be spending more money than when money is coming in. If you set up a consultancy firm, before your first clients, we pay you your first money. You would have opened an office, you would have paid for the office, you would have your car, you would have transport to go to the office, go to the client's location, go for meetings. All of those are outflows. That is, money is going out of your pocket, cash is going out of your pocket. You have met the client 2 times in the client's office, you have collected the job, you've signed the engagement letter, you started going there for the next 1 to 2 weeks, transporting yourself every day, eating, and that client has probably not even paid you. Then maybe after 2 weeks, you get 70% of your fee. And probably the 70% of the fee that you are getting, maybe is just not even enough for all of the cash that you spend. So that is the normal way a business starts. But when you get to a point where the cash that is coming in steadily for you is higher than the cash that is going out, then it's time for you to scale. Number 3, operational efficiency. When you get to a point where you can do things in a faster, cheaper, and better manner, it's time for you to scale. If you start your business today and you are selling, or maybe you are into buying and selling, for example, when you start, you probably do not know the best price that you can negotiate in the market. You don't even know the best time to go to the market so that you can quickly buy your products. You don't know the best person to be buying from. You don't know, the best quantity to be buying so that you don't buy more of item A than item B. And so sometimes you would have run out of stock for item A and you still have, stock of item B, and then you are faced with a decision to, how do I just go to the market to buy only item A you will not cover my cost and all of those things. You at that level that you are starting your business, you've not achieved that level of efficiency. But as time goes on, when you go to the market, you now find out that, oh, it's better to go to the market on Wednesday. In fact, people that are into the business of vegetables or all these staple foods, they know the time that these products will come from the north, onions, beans, and all of those things. They know the day. So sometimes you will go to the market on Wednesday, and the price you pay on Wednesday will be different from Friday. If you restock on Wednesday, your cost will be lower than if you restock on Friday. If you restock on Wednesday morning, your cost might be as much as 40% lower than when you restock Wednesday evening. Same day, same Wednesday. In fact, Wednesday 11 o'clock, 7 o'clock or 8 o'clock can get as much as 40% lower cost than you got to the market by 10 o'clock. The day I heard this thing, in fact, I was amazed that people will sleep in Shasha market. I mean, thank God that majority of people here are from Ibadan. People will sleep in Shasha market. The trailer that is bringing tomato and some of these foods would have entered the market in the night, but they will not offload, or maybe in the midnight, they will not offload. Very early in the morning, the driver wants to return. So they will sell that trailer like that. They don't even, they will just, a bulk dealer will just buy the trailer, pay the person, and the person moves on. That person too will offload it, and everybody that is there, basket of tomato, they will just start packing it, and they will finish it within 1 hour or 1.5 hours. They are done. The next trailer that is coming, so you that are coming by 10 o'clock, you come and buy on that same Wednesday. The person that bought 6 o'clock probably bought a basket for 40,000. If you come by 10 o'clock, that basket can be 50,000 or 55,000. Same basket of tomato. Just 3 hour difference. So, I'm using this rudimentary example to let us know that as you grow in the business, as you do that business, you will get to a level where you understand that operational efficiency to say, okay, I now know that if I go Wednesday morning and I buy up to 3 baskets of tomato, I will be able to reduce my cost by X percentage or X amount. Okay, the people that gain so much from this thing are people that can buy, up to 100 kg or 200 kg. But the money that you have is just for 25 kg. But you already understand that efficiency, the timing of it. Then it's time to scale. It's time for you to look for money that will help you to buy that 200 kg. It's time for you to look for car that will help you get that 200 kg when you buy it. It's time for you to be able to wake up early and get a driver that will get you to Shasha market before 6 o'clock in the morning. Because if you are waiting for day to break and you are getting there by 9:30, 10, your cost has increased. So another way to measure that timing is when you have gotten to that level that you understand the business. You can actually reduce your costs with your new knowledge. That's the time to scale. If I go to the consultancy world for chartered accountants, people that have consultancy firm, that have audit firm, when you start as maybe a new audit firm, you will be burning cash on things like paper. You'll be burning cash on things like having to print outside. Okay, maybe you've not set up your own color printer, and don't forget, our audit reports. I mean, if you want to be standard, it has to be a color printing, anyways. So if you don't have a color printer, you will go outside. If you don't have a photocopying machine, you go outside to go and do it. And sometimes they charge you. Sometimes the cost is even more than the money. You will not be able to meet deadline because they've closed by the time you go there and all of those things. But meanwhile, you have gotten to a point where You now understand that if I need to do this work in 2 weeks, if I quickly do this work in 2 weeks, I can take up another job. So you already have a color printer, you already have a paper, and you can better plan yourself and deliver work to clients. That is the time that you should know that only you cannot be the staff in that audit firm or consultancy firm again. You need to start thinking of scaling by number one, hiring maybe a junior staff that can assist you. Because you've gotten to a point where you now understand the way your clients, the timing of your clients, the number of weeks you need to deliver a certain job. You know the number of papers you need, you know the costs and all of those things. You are already hitting the time to scale. Another thing for chartered accountant, consultancy firm, and people that are into service business. One of the things that happen to many service providers is that when they start, they make the mistake of wrong pricing or wrong charging. Sometimes you don't know the extent of the work, or even when you know the extent of the work, you just quote, okay, give us 500,000. And you get people to help you, you try to deliver the service and all of those. You find out that you have eventually spent maybe 490,000. At the end of the day, you're like, for all of this 1 week of stress, only 10,000, but okay, we'll take it. As you grow, get more jobs, speak with more people, understand the work better, you know that, no, I should be pricing 750,000. By the time you start pricing 750,000, you know that instead of visiting the client's location 2 times, the very first day that you go to meet the client, you would have collected all of the documents that you need to start your work. Not that you go the first day, you talk with the client. In the client's office, you go home. Then when you get home, that's when you remember that, oh, I'm actually supposed to collect this document. Then you go back again and collect it. You will make 3 trips to collect the document that you need. Maybe the first time. By the time you start, when you are doing the same thing, you increase your knowledge. And then you get to a point where the first time you get to that client's location, you already know the questions you want to ask. You know the thing that you need to get. You get it once and you don't have to, spend cash again, going there twice. At that point, it's time for you to start thinking of scaling your business. So why this is inside the bucket is that you need all of these conditions, as somebody has suggested, to be in place for you to scale. As a matter of fact, the first 2 that I explained go together. Okay? Strong market demand means that you make more sales, mean that you have your chance of getting, what do we call it, positive cash flow is high. So those 2 goes together. But then if you have not achieved the operational efficiency, you still should not scale at that time. You have to have all of these 3 in place to scale. Now, how to scale? Now, we have answered the question of why do we need to scale? Do we need to scale? Yes. I already know when to scale. Maybe you have started your business and all of those conditions are met. Then the next question is, how do I scale? How do I scale? Whatever I put on this slide, I've actually explained it in talking about the time, but to quickly go through it, you need to standardize your process. Let me go back to the example of a typical, auditor or chartered accountant or, management consultant that I gave. Initially, maybe when you start, your process might be around, okay, you go the first time, you don't collect document, you go the second time, and all of those things. By the time you understand everything that you need and you want to scale, you standardize that process for every member of your team and even yourself as the CEO. That the first day we go to the client's office, every document that we can get from the client, every information that we can extract from the client about the business, we get it. Maybe in your own process, you say, okay, we go the second time, but before we go, we send them an email of all of the documents that we need them to make available before we get there. So that when they would have made the document available, we just go there, we get those documents, we have a meeting, opening meeting with the, client, we discuss, and then we come back to our own office, to review those documents. And maybe from like the third or fourth day, you have two people going there, working with them, asking questions. You have to standardize that process. You can't scale a business when you don't have a standard process and it's just haphazard. You come, oh, did you collect this? Oh, I didn't collect it. I'll go and collect it tomorrow. And then that tomorrow, there's public holiday. Then after public holiday, the person that has the document went for salary break and he couldn't come back. And then by the time he came back, I mean, waste of time. You won't deliver. You affect your brand. You can't grow. You won't get referral. So you have to standardize your process. Leverage technology. As business owners, even as chartered accountants, we must leverage technology. Which process can be automated? Which one can be digitalized? Please, digitization is different from digitalization. If you take a paper and you snap it and you put it on your phone, that's digitization. You are just converting from paper or local or traditional to the cloud. That's digitization. Digitalization is like a transformation. Everything around your process has been, automated. The ones that you cannot automate, you have standardized it. So let me give an example. There are times where we get information from clients as chartered accountants. They will give us documents and we need to, put that document in the maybe like another document that we are working with, like our own, Excel or whatever. And so one way is that you get those documents, you start typing it from the company's, maybe check stub or invoice or whatever. You now start inputting it in your own Word document or Excel sheet to add up, the invoice amount and all of those things. That's when you are not ready to scale. When you are ready to scale, you should be thinking of like an OCR, technology, where you simply take that picture of that document that they have given you, and the OCR system will convert it to a report. You convert it to text on your system. Why would you be using the whole day to be typing board resolution? Take a picture of it. OCR will convert it to your own template or your own system as a report. You just make few edits and you are done. That is when you begin to leverage technology. Old accountants, filing system, they will be writing it file code 1, file code 2, AOA, AO1, AO. By the time you automate that process and leverage technology, you have a digital filing system. You can scatter everything today and rearrange it tomorrow. You know where everything is. Not AO1, and then tomorrow you see that, oh, it was not supposed to be in this cabinet, and then they take marker, they cancel it. Sometimes they will change the file, go and bring another file and label it properly. But if it's a digital filing system, you just say, this file cabinet 1, this is the listing of the files that are there. Leveraging technology. You have to leverage technology if you want to scale up, because that's the only way you can actually scale fast. Focus on your core products. Jack of all trades, master of none. It's good to know or to have an idea of other things, but as a business, focus on your core products. Your core product I'm not saying it has to be one. An audit firm can start. They are doing, tax audit, they are doing tax filing, they are doing CAC filing, they are doing, maybe due diligence, they are doing business plan and all of those things. I mean, you are doing all. They look at your, business profile. You have like 20-something services that you are doing. When you start that business and as you go on, you would see that you're doing well in some more than the others. You will see that even you as the CEO and your team, you have cognate experience in some set of service over the others, you will quickly know that the money that you are making is higher in some products over the others. You would also see, without anybody telling you, that these other products is taking resources from you. The money that you are even making on this one, you are spending it on this one. When you decide to scale, when you know it's time to scale, that is the point where you will focus on your core product. I'm not saying you should take out the remaining products, but if you look at this slide there, what I put there is outsource non-core products or services. Outsource it. Focus on the one that is giving you money. If it is audit that is giving you money and tax, focus on audit and tax. If somebody tells you that, oh, we saw your business profile, we say you are doing CAC filing, you say, yes, you are doing it. You take the job, call somebody that is focused on CAC and say, please, I need you to help me do a CAC filing. How much will you take? Yes, okay, I can do it. It's ready in 3 days. I'll take 50,000. You charge the client 70,000. Give the guy 50,000. Pocket the 20,000 for your own, goodwill that you have invested to get that referral. Not that you will now be using the time that you're supposed to use to deliver on your audit work that is giving you money to go and be chasing CAC officials up and down. So that's what I mean. I'm not saying you should, not provide all of those because it's like a suite of services. But by the time you start and as you are going, you will see yourself. Nobody will tell you, except you want to deceive yourself as a business owner, that one product or one service is giving you money more than others. Focus on those ones. If you still want to do others, because sometimes you'll be like, how can me, a chartered accountant, how can somebody call me that they want to file tax returns? I will now say we cannot do it. It will be a dent on our image. I'm not saying you should not take it. I'm just suggesting that there are people that their own core focus is not that tax. Call them, partner with them, give them the job, get your own 25% or 30% or whatever you negotiate, and move on. So that your time, you can use it to your own advantage on the core. Then the fourth point here, secure funding. Secure funding is that get money. There's no scaling without money. Whether you are using the money to buy maybe equipment that you need as an audit firm, large printer, color printer, photocopy machine, laptops, and all of those things. Or as a business owner, you want to expand, the number of products that you are buying. Like the example I gave, that the person that now understand that to get quantity discount, you need to buy up to 200 kg, and our capital is just for 25 kg. That kind of business owner needs money, needs funding, needs capital to get to that 200 kg and enjoy that, quantity discount and that cost benefit. So you have to secure funding to scale. And there are different options. There is, you can secure from maybe the revenue that you have made, you have been saving. You can look for, investors, just angel investors that, they will tell you, okay, in 5 years, I'll pull out and all of that. You can get equity, get a partner to come and work with you. You can go and borrow money, get the debt. And you can also apply for grants, depending on the, kind of business that you're doing. But whatever option, secure funding, because you will need fund to scale. The common pitfalls of scaling, the dangers, the threats, things that we should watch out for. Be careful. Let us be careful not to scale without a plan. We must scale with a plan, a strategy. This is where I am now. This is where I want the company to be. How do I get here? If I face this problem, that is where your SWOT analysis comes in. If I face this problem, how do I respond? If a competitor comes in while I'm still trying to build my products, what do I do? scale with a strategy, scale with a plan. I already said this, don't scale too fast. You cannot be too fast about scaling. If you scale too fast, you can get your fingers burned. Another danger, not listening to feedback. Some people are so focused on what they do that they are not hearing what the client or the customer is telling them. Because no, the customer is telling you that this your product is giving us product. They are like, no, we are working on it. We are working on it. We are working on it. And then that thing that you are working on, you will still churn out that. You make that same error, that same mistake, that same problem. You will still churn it out in the upgraded version. And I've seen it happen countless times by virtue of where I work. Somebody is building an app. A customer is dropping feedback on App Store to say, when you try to open this app, if you don't have 4G on your phone, the app will be very slow, which means the network requirement to open the app is very, very high. It's too high. And instead of listening to the customer and looking at why that is happening, like, no, don't worry. We're already working on version 2.0. We're already working on version 3.0. And by the time they release version 3.0, version 3.0 will now have exciting features, very good user interface. But the problem of network is still there. So people cannot even log in to see those exciting features that you are bragging about, that you spent, months, because you didn't listen to your customer. So you would have invested resources in that new feature or new product, expecting the customer to accept it, and then you see that the investment will go down the drain because you did not listen to customer. So let's watch out for that danger. There's also there's also mismatched customer feedback. Some people, they don't take their time to understand what the customer is saying. A customer can sometimes give you a feedback, and if you don't probe further to ask, you will just think it's another thing that the customer is saying. Let me use this example of network, this app that I'm talking about, because this is like a practical example of what I've seen that nearly ruined a startup. Customer gave a feedback to say the network is not, you need a strong network for this thing to work. Okay. Now, how did they mismatch that feedback? In their mind, they are like, people are using maybe 3G, they're supposed to upgrade their SIM to 4G. That's the problem. Not considering that some of the customers that you are targeting are in Ukwani, they are in Megatari market, where there's nothing like 4G. And you are focused on MTN has told everybody to come and upgrade their SIM from 3G to 4G. When there is 5G, why are you still using 2G? MTN has 5G, but it's 5G in Megatari. Even in this, our Lagos, even in Ibadan, there's 5G if you are within Ibadan. Is 5G in Shaki? Is 5G in Igano? So let's not make the mistake of mismatching customers' feedback. Then sometimes you have different kind of customers. Maybe you have let me say people that are not, let me just say people that are not very tech savvy. And then you have people that are tech savvy. And then you get a feedback from people that are tech savvy and say, wow, this platform is okay, the security is good. By the time I want to log in, I use my thumbprint, I like that feature, and then you are happy about it. And then your customers that are not too tech savvy, they are telling you that security feature that you put there, that fingerprint, you need to remove it all because it's not working for us. And in your mind, they are like, no, my main customers have already said this feature is good. How can you come and tell me it's not good? You are taking the feedback from a section of the market that does not understand the reality of the other side. And yet you are scaling a product that you expect all of the market to converge to get. There will be danger. Poor financial management. I don't arrive. Money in our water. Let's avoid it. When you are scaling as a business owner, especially in startups, when you are just starting, money is not water. Money is capital. Money is meant to be reinvested to scale that business. Don't be the CEO that any party, once you wear your white agbada and carry once they start hailing you like this, you just be spraying. What financial management? Company culture is another danger we should watch out for when scaling. Now, there are some companies that have the culture of experimenting, have the culture of going through a certain process before they release their product. QA, maybe there's QA level 1, there's an alpha tester, there's a beta tester, there is all manner of testing before it goes to the market. But because you want to scale, you ignore that culture. You just move something straight from the person that produced straight to the market. No proper testing. Chartered accountants, let me come home. In our setup as an audit firm, when an officer finishes the job, he passes it to the audit supervisor. The supervisor checks, passes it to the audit manager before it comes to the audit, partner. Okay, and by the time you start scaling and work is coming, you need to meet deadline. Then straight from officer is coming to the audit partner, who will not have enough time to go through the details of what is in that report. And then the report is submitted, it gets to the time to present to a client. We are seeing all manner of error. We are happy to report that the net profits of the company, little errors. Let's avoid it. Do not ignore your culture, that process that you have standardized. Don't ignore it just because you are scaling. Then failing to adopt. There are times where you want to do something, you feel is the best way to go about it. Then you get to the market, you get a different feedback. Don't fail to adapt. If you say no, we already did our research, and this is the way to go. And what the market is telling you, or the feedback that you are getting, is that it's different. Our times have changed. You did your research 1 year ago. Or let me give an example. Some people did research in 2022, up to January or February 2023, around what the business landscape in Nigeria would be, the dollar fluctuation and all of those things. And then in a single statement, subsidy is gone, dollar subsidy or whatever is gone, and then everything jumped up. So anybody that was into the business of dollar, how can you not adapt at that time? So adaptation means that you create room that if something changes, you quickly come back, reevaluate, and change. And there are examples of companies that fail to adapt. An example of a company that failed to adapt is BlackBerry. For people that are older here, I'm sure many people here use BlackBerry device. When BlackBerry was the darling of everybody, premium, if you are using BlackBerry, a big boy. Everything that was out there was, can I have your BB pin, BB pin, BB pin? That was it. Oh, even sometimes before you say, give me your number, people say, no, nobody asked for number that time. Can I have your BB pin? Can I have your BB pin? That was the level then. And BlackBerry grew up to 2007. They were just growing, turning out different products. iOS, Apple was coming. Do you know what the leadership of BlackBerry said when Apple was coming? They said, Apple, that's iPhone, is just a toy. iPhone is just a toy. It's the same iPhone that pushed them away from the market. Because when they were supposed to adapt to the fact that many people that didn't see the need to use phone before, that they saw phone, and all of this instant messaging as, what the rich are enjoying. That was what it was. We are not rich people now. Now rich people, they use BlackBerry. We will just be doing our own normal phone call. But the landscape was changing to when, feature phones and small phones, very cheap phones that can now do WhatsApp, that can now do instant messaging. And BlackBerry was still in their cocoon of give me your BB pin. Then the person will share his BB pin, you will send the request, and if he does not accept your request, you can be there for 2 years. You'll never be able to message that person. And BlackBerry was expensive. And then there came all of these smaller phones, Android, Infinix, this one, that one, itel. Everybody remember the old techno, not the huge one that they were doing now. The old techno, if it rings like this, the whole Ibadan will be shaking, especially when the volume is at the highest. Look at the techno that they are making today. So techno too didn't wait. Infinix didn't wait. They took advantage of that changing landscape, and they have quickly adapted to providing all of these cheaper phones. People don't know. When techno came into Nigeria, they were already producing expensive phones abroad. But for Nigerian market, they saw that the consumer-friendly product is what is the way to go in Africa, in Nigeria. And while BlackBerry was still doing their big boys, they took over. And BlackBerry there's BlackBerry today. They are gone. So again, as you are scaling, as you are increasing as a business, avoid that danger of failing to adopt. Now, I said we would, just consider few case studies, to help us. So the first case study that I will quickly talk about is Shopify. People that know, Shopify. So Shopify is a platform. Is the biggest platform for merchants today and all of that. Now, how did Shopify start? The founder of Shopify, he was a developer, like a programmer, IT guru or IT expert. And so he got tired of doing programming, and he decided that he will go into snowboard business. So snowboard is people that are doing jet skiing, people that used to go to all of these resorts. You would have seen that board where you put your leg on it, you're using it to surf. So that's a snowboard. So he went to he wanted to go into snowboard business. He had a physical store, and then he opened that snowboard business. And then he quickly decided that he would take that business online so that people can order for, the snowboard online, and they can come and pick up, or he will go and deliver. And he was looking for, websites that can help him host his, shop online. So he considered Yahoo store, and a couple of other stores at the time. And what the founder, Tobias Luke, found out is that what he wanted to do, there was no system available to do it. And then he decided to build his own online platform by himself, ground up. He built it. He hosted the snowboard there, and then he started selling. Which means a key takeaway or a lesson there is that the business that you would start it from a place of need. If you look at this guy, this founder, the reason why, if he found a system that would have helped him host his snowboard store online, we probably wouldn't have Shopify today. But in looking for a system to help him host his snowboard, and he couldn't find, he already saw the need in the market that why would I not find a store that can do this and this? And then he created that store for himself. Because he probably did it out of pride to say, look, I was in this thing that I cannot do. And he went back to his programming mode and he did it. Okay? He hosted the snowboard there. He started selling online. Now, he now started getting feedback. Most of the feedback that he was getting was actually not about the snowboard he was selling. Most of the feedback was coming from people that are interested in that platform. People asking him, which platform is this? Where did you get it? How did you get it? I need this kind of platform. People giving him feedback were people that bought his snowboard, but were interested in that platform even more than the snowboard that they bought. Now, what did Tobias do? By listening to that customer, he understood that feedback and he adapted. What he did, he abandoned his snowboard and he started scaling by building the platform, by increasing the feature on that platform that became Shopify. And that's why I said, when you start and it's time to scale, as you are scaling, let's be attentive. Let's listen to what the market is saying. He wanted to do a snowboard business. He's doing a snowboard business, he's selling online. He got feedback that people were more interested, or more people were interested in the platform and not his snowboard. It would have been foolish of him to start improving the kind of snowboard he's selling when the market is yearning for a platform that he built. So he abandoned the snowboard business and started expanding that platform. From 2024 to 2026, he focused on building features, getting feedback, building the feature, adding, how to track order, how to group item, how to automate your inventory. He started building it. When he got to 2008, somebody saw everything that he's doing. He got his first investor that invested $250,000. As a matter of fact, the time when the person invested $250,000, his annual revenue of Shopify was less than $100,000. Annual revenue, not cost, not profit. Annual revenue of Shopify was less than $100,000, and somebody invested $250,000 at the time, because that person saw that this is a business scaling. He understood what he was doing. Now, another thing that this person did, which is part of the conditions to scaling and the things that we said before, the founder of Shopify, when he started, he was using a transaction-based fee model to say, okay, you know what, you won't pay anything to come on this platform. However, from everything that you sell, I will take X percentage. I'll take 2%, or I'll take, whatever percent that was. And so people were, going there. However, the large enterprise, people that sell a lot, they were not patronizing him. Why? Because they are like, so I will sell 1 billion, and this guy will collect almost this amount. It's too much now. But the small businesses were comfortable because they were not selling much. So the cost they were paying was not much. And what did he do? He also looked at that model, that why do I have more smaller people? And he changed his pricing system to a combination of subscription plus transaction model, which means everybody will pay, say, 50,000, just to use that as an example. You pay 50,000, then you will now be paying this small fraction of your transaction as revenue. As your transaction increases, the amount of revenue that you'll be paying, the amount of fee that you'll be paying reduces. That now started encouraging the bigger guys to say, okay, by the time I do more on this platform, I will get less. That was the pivotal point when he was able to bring his business model and the expectation of the customer. He was able to align it to say, now I've given customer the product that is good, but are the customer willing to pay the price, the fee that I'm giving them? So by getting those feedback, by changing his pricing model, he delivered a good product, and he delivered a product that customers were willing to pay for at the price that they wanted to pay. And from there, Shopify has continued to grow, to grow, to grow. Shopify moved away from even providing platform for merchant alone, for people selling alone. They've now done around 2013, they provided a platform for even developers that are now building applications for merchants that are on Shopify. So there's a developer web page on Shopify that if you are a merchant and you are selling, let's assume that you are selling maybe bags and you are on Shopify and you want to have your own website or you want to have your own app for bag, there's a developer there that can help you. So they started expanding. Look at Uber. It's the same thing for Uber. Uber, there are a lot of hailing company, Bolt, and all of those things. But if you look at the way Uber has been expanding, by the way, the company where I'm privileged to be working is the processor for Uber in Africa and Latin America. That's further away. And you see, the strategy of Uber in their expansion is very simple. They do research. They know the number of people that are in a particular country. They do the research on the problem that is going on in that country. Who is the player in that country if there's any player? What is the means by which people in that company transport and all of those things? And then they go in. There are some countries today that Uber has gone to, not because that is the best country to go to at that time, but because it's a strategic market. Being to that market is very important. Uber will go there. Now, if you let's look at Uber. I mean, many of us might be, are most likely using Uber in Nigeria. When Uber started, there were a lot of promos. Promo here, promo there, promo here, promo there. If you open your Uber app today, you will see that Uber is not doing food delivery. They've diversified. After they solidified their base, they've diversified. There's Uber food delivery, there's Uber freight, Uber logistics and all of those things. The one that I found out about 2 months ago, because I use Uber. Anyway, I don't have any choice. My company is processing for Uber. They are one of our top customers, so I must use Uber. So I use Uber very frequently. And then sometimes around 2 months up to 1 month ago, I started noticing that anytime I book a ride, it will take 15 minutes, sometimes 20 minutes to get a driver. And so one night, I was trying to book Uber. I was trying to leave the office to go home. I didn't drive. And I was already tired, so I booked the Uber. The first driver, 15 minutes away, I canceled it. I booked again. He brought that same driver. Now, 18 minutes away, I canceled it. I booked again. He gave me another driver, almost 20-something minutes away. I canceled it, and I was giving my reason to say wait time is too long. By the time I did the third driver, I just saw a prompt from Uber saying you can do priority service. You will pay additional 1,000 naira. And then I booked. I just say yes because I needed to, leave the office. Within 2 minutes, I got a driver. I was like, 2 minutes, I got a driver, which means Uber has gone past just, making you trust their system. They have gone past building trust and gaining confidence. They have gone past the, market presence. They've gone past the competitive advantage. In Nigeria today, Uber is number one. So they have now diversified, which is also part of scaling. They are now adding services and layering services and giving people options. So these are the things that we need to look out for when we are scaling. You must be able to expand if your business is not to expand across country, Carry your product from Ibadan, start selling it in Lagos, sell it in Abuja. Get a student that is the University of Abuja to be your sales rep. Get your sister that is in Osun State University to be your sales rep. Let your product be known everywhere. Get a nylon. Print your business name on that nylon so that anybody that is getting that product, they put that in nylon and they're like, oh, who is Ashake Foods again? Don't just, as a business person, don't just carry takeaway pack, black takeaway pack with white cover, put moi moi and core inside. Your moi moi is sweet, your core is sweet. But the person that is hungry, we open that cover and finish eating it. He doesn't care whether it came from Ashake or Amope. But if you give him inside the nylon, he will look at the nylon, okay, I'm okay, and then open the food. You might think he's not bothered, but that thing is registering. If that momo and the call was very good, tomorrow he will say, I ate one momo yesterday. I think it was one Amope momo. I read momo is that one. I got it from X. Oh yeah, let's go to the person. They get it. Your name starts going. Market presence. But if you are just delivering it in takeaway pack without any branding, you won't scale. And so, again, somebody you are doing a when people are saying, can you do a kuru? And you can do it. Just say, no. My calling is my money. No, if you can do a kuru, do it. If you cannot do a kuru, get somebody that can do a kuru. Let him be doing the kuru for you and you be selling, be packaging and selling. You will be surprised to hear that most of the things that are repackaged in some of our supermarkets are being brought else by other people. Bread, chin. Those ones we just remove, they will deliver it in either plain bottle. And the person that wants to do the marketing will put his own label and put it on it. That person has gotten to the scaling level of outsourcing. That person is only focusing on core service. He or she has outsourced the other service. Now, these are companies that have been successful. I talked about companies that have failed. BlackBerry is one of them. Okay? Kodak is another company that has failed because they didn't scale. They didn't adapt. For people that know the Kodak story, and you can go and read it, Kodak was the biggest digital photography. I mean, anybody that is, was around even up to year 2000, even up to year 2000 would know Kodak cameras, and all of this film, this chemical film. So Kodak, as far back as 1975 or thereabout, Kodak already emphasized all of this new innovation of phones being able to do digital camera and being able to print, not the ones that they first of all take the picture, then go and wash it on the chemical film. They had a strong R&D department. And there is one of their researchers, Steve Sasson, that as far back as 1975 told them that this is the future. And what was the management reaction? They said, wow, this is cute. He gave them like a demo. Oh, he said, this is cute, but don't tell anyone. Because they were making billions of naira on that physical film photography. And that went on and on. And when the guy raised it again, they frustrated him till he left the company. That's the researcher. He resigned and left. And after he left, why did he leave? He said, you people are not looking at the future. He's going to people that know the future. Instead for them to even reflect at that point. No, they did not reflect. What did they do? They doubled down on the wrong thing that they were doing. Okay? They went to invest in a chemical company only to find out that chemical, because those large films paper is chemical that they used to produce it. So instead of buying those chemical materials, they now even invested and bought a company that produces it for them. Then they found out that chemical company that they bought, the chemical cannot be used directly for their digital, their film and all of that. And they had to still sell that company. They made a loss on that. And they still continue their large film, their paper film. The MD then resigned. They had two contestants or candidates for MD position. One that, had this digital idea, and another candidate from another company that was also into physical film production. And they abandoned the candidature of their staff that has spent almost 20 years that was inclined to digital photography. They did not take him as the winner. They went outside the company. Go out, they went to poach another CEO of a smaller company to them at the time and brought him in as the MD. And then this guy that was more inclined to digital photography left their company and went to another company. And the other MD came back. I mean, the other MD came in and was still saying, we'll continue in the old way. Until, mobile phones around 2007, when all these digital phones came and pushed Kodak gradually out of that market. So they had all of the opportunity. In fact, they even had enough time. Not like today. Today, you don't even have that time. Because if you look at 1975 to 2007, you're talking of almost 30 years. They had a lot of time. But today, you don't have that luxury of time. If you don't do it when you're supposed to do it, you will have problems. Now, the another thing that I will just quickly say is when you are scaling as a business owner, avoid going ahead of your time. If you look at the example of these two companies, Olive AI that I put here, they wanted to scale rapidly to impress their investor. They were just acquiring different kind of customer. They acquired the small customer, they acquired the big customer. They didn't have any focus. They were just acquiring different customers. And what happened? When it was time to scale their products, they didn't know which one to go for. They were just trying to do everything haphazardly. Is this small one we should do eventually? They could not do one successfully. In fact, even if you have acquired different customers, but it goes back to what I was saying, that at some point, focus on your core product. Which one do you have strength in? What they should have done is that when it was time to scale, they were supposed to choose, is it the small business that is giving us more money, or is it the large businesses? But they wanted to do the two together. They never did one to perfection. So they did both haphazardly. The large businesses were not happy because there was no focus on their experience and what they need. The small business were also not happy. Eventually, that company went under 3 years. Convoy, the same thing. He was not even acquiring customer. He was trying to use pricing to take over the market. You came into a market, an established market, and you are just doing, discount up and down. And many business owners still do it today. When you get to a market that is established, you can't just be throwing price discount around. Because you want to dominate the market, you are just, underselling so that you will not get customer. In the case of Convoy, he was doing discount and many customers moved to him. And by the time he now got his own client base, thinking he already has customer, and now want to start adjusting the price, all of the customers just move back. And you have taken a lot of loss from all of those discounts because you are selling lower than your costs. Now, when it's time for you to adjust the price so that you can make, your profit. Now, all the customers have moved away. And then there was no way to keep up. They had to shut down. And so, another lesson, another key takeaway is that when you get to an established market, price properly. Don't try to use price as the only tool to get customer. Focus on right pricing, good quality, prompt service. I'm not saying doing slightly cheaper pricing is wrong. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying don't let that be the only strategy. Just to be reducing pricing. Some people do it. Somebody is selling something at 300. Just because you want to take all of the customer, you start selling your own at 250. I've worked in telecom sector when I was early days in my career. When a player is in this our Oyo state, wanted to use pricing to be lower price to be selling the recharge card. The remaining competitors, they came together and they had money. They've made revenue over time. They had a lot of reserve. And this new player was just throwing price discount up and down. They too decided that, look, how much are we going to lose? They said, okay, we are going to lose this amount. They said, okay, let's commit out of our reserve. They committed part of their reserve to fight this new entrant. As the guy was selling at 100, they will sell at 99. If you reduce it to 95, they will sell at 94. They were bleeding, he was bleeding. But because he was a new entrant who has not shored up his reserve, he got to a point where he could not take the loss again. The people he was fighting with are established players. They have reserve. Yes, they were losing. but they were taken out of their revenue reserve or general reserve over time. So as a business owner that is scaling, don't go and focus on pricing and say, I will crash the price, I will take over the market, then I will now start adjusting my price. It won't work. If you face fierce competition in a market where they are established players, they will gang up and then they will make you lose so much money and then push you out of the market. And that was exactly what happened to that particular player. If I mention the name of that MTN dealer, people on this call will know that MTN dealer who came to the market and was doing pricing and all of those things. They were from one of the top first MTN dealers when that 2007 at time, before MTN became very popular like this. So let's be careful. So I've already talked about the key takeaway. There's no problem with starting simple. There's no problem. You don't have to get everything perfect before you start. Start simple. WhatsApp is not as advanced as it is now when it started. There were a lot of features that were not there. WhatsApp even recently released a feature on iOS for people that are, conversant with things that are happening. They released a feature on iOS and that feature was a mess. You'll be checking one status, you'll be seeing another person's picture, but within 24 hours, they fixed it and that feature is working well today. They didn't wait for 2 years to perfect it. So there are times when you do it simple and you do it fast. There are times where you test it very well and you go. Listen to customers' feedback. I've already talked on that one. Align your product and your business model and your company goals. You cannot be doing things in disarray. Your product is that you are selling something that requires neatness. And your business model is that you will be packing it without cover. How does that work? You are selling food. You are not putting it inside nylon. You just carry food like this. So you have to align your products to your model. How are you selling? What are you aiming to get? Which customer do you bring on board? Make data-driven decisions. Many of business owners, they make decisions based on emotion. Somebody once said this thing, where I was. He said, go and do what you don't like that will give you money. When you make that money, now go and use that money to fund or to do what you like. That is making data-driven decision. Some people, they want to convert their emotion to money. Oh, I love making food. But the area where you are, there's item 7 there, there's Chicken Republic there. There's almost 10 people there. And it's that same place you want to be making food. Just because you love making food. Now, all of those people that are selling food, they are selling water, 400 naira. You cannot start water business and sell it at 200 just beside where they are making food and focus on water business so that people will buy food and come and buy water in your place. Just because food is your passion, you decide that amongst all of these big players, it's still food you want to sell. No. Business is not about emotion. Make data-driven decisions. What does the customer, this market, what we sell in this market? And that's what you should do. Then relentless prioritization of products. Make sure that you're always improving your product. Get feedback, improve your product. Then embrace long-termism or be more focused on long-term. Many people, many business owners, they are more concerned with now, 3 months' time. They don't think of this decision that I'm making now, how will it affect the company, my product, my reputation, 3 years' time, 4 years' time, 5 years' time. So another key takeaway is to focus on the long term. When the likes of Facebook, or that became Meta now, okay, when they were buying WhatsApp, people were like, why? I mean, Facebook already had instant messaging. It was already a social media platform that was way, way bigger than WhatsApp. So why would you have that kind of established, social network platform, and then you still want to buy a small platform? For what? Why? That's not having the long term. Can we all see the long-term effect? And so, I mean, a company that will be successful, you must think long-term. People might not understand it today, but tomorrow they will understand it. The fact that WhatsApp is popular in Nigeria has not for one day affected the growth of Facebook. Facebook is still the biggest social media network in the world. But has that taken anything away from the fact that it's the same company that owns WhatsApp? No. So think strategically. Everything doesn't have to be mutually exclusive. This is not strategic financial management. Everything in life is not like you are doing a project A, project B, net cash flow. No, that's not how that it is to business. Sit down. Let's take, as business owners, take long-term decisions, understand the impact, and when you have the resources, invest in it now. Don't wait for when it will be taken away from you. In conclusion, what are we saying, or what have we been saying? At some point in every business life cycle, it must take a decision to either scale, but if it does not take that decision to scale, okay, it will die. That decision will take itself. Scaling requires committing to an idea, strategy, or product. Once you understand the product that you are good at as a company, as a business, to scale, you will commit to that idea, you will commit to that product. That strategy that is working for you. If your strategy is WhatsApp video for marketing, commit to that WhatsApp video. If your strategy is TV media, commit to that strategy. You have to plan strategically and leverage technology. I said this before, focus on what works. When you are scaling, when your business is still growing, that is not the time for trial and error. By the time you get enough money, you will start doing trial and error. The owner of Virgin Airline is now into rocket and space thing too, as his own trial and error. Okay, he has money already, so he can afford the trial and error. Elon Musk can afford trial and error. So you have to focus on what works first. When you have the resources, you can now be doing research and all of those things. Hire the right people. That is very, very important. Now, scaling is only difficult when you grow your organization like a tower instead of a city. So some people think of, you stay in one small place and build a 25-story building instead of building 25 bungalows around you. The 25-story building, if it falls one day, that is the whole building that is damaged. But what are the chances that all of those 25 houses within that city will all crumble in one day? So this is to say, when you are starting and you have a very big base, a very big customer base, as you are scaling, you can begin to trim it down to focus on some specific customers. But when you start, avoid concentration risk. When you just say, this is the only customer I want to focus on. No, that is what you do when you are scaling. So when you decide to, build a city, have several products, partner with different people, yes, you are already scaling. You focus on the one that is your core, you outsource the one that is not your core, that is scaling. Finally, success usually comes to those who are too busy to be looking for it. So that's a quote, and I've already referenced, the person that said it there, which means as you are building a successful business, okay, don't focus too much on that success. Focus on what you are doing. That success is a product of it. Some people are so focused on the success that they even forget to do what will bring that success. I must have this money. This business must grow. Yet they are spending all of their days thinking about business to grow and not doing things that will make that business grow. So that's what this quote is saying. When you are busy and you are not really looking for that success, but you are busy doing the right things that you're supposed to be doing, that success becomes an outcome, a result of your hard work. Thank you, everyone, for listening. That will be the end of this presentation. I do believe that I've been able to impact knowledge, and I just want to appreciate everyone for your rapt attention. Thank you. Over to you, Mr. Moderator.